Next, we have the University of Texas at San Antonio and the University of Texas Health Science Center at San Antonio. President Taylor Egme.
Mr. Chairman, Vice Chair, distinguished committee members, I am Taylor Amy, and I'm the president at UT San Antonio. And as I say every time I come before you, I have the best job in the world. I'd like to acknowledge and gratefully thank the legislature for the additional funding as introduced in SB 1, supporting the formula, the National Research Support Fund, and potentially the TRIP backlog. My comments follow the slide deck that I've provided you, and I'd like to highlight slide 2. UTSA has a major workforce and economic development role for South Texas and the entire state. We graduate around 7,000 students a year, and at least 91% of our recent graduates are staying in Texas to join our workforce. We have focused our degree programs on the hiring needs of the top employers in the region who are hiring our graduates. Our economic impact is $2.6 billion annually. Given our intentional focus on reducing the average time to graduation and provision of financial aid, our students are graduating significantly sooner with much less debt and entering the workforce with good jobs. We are highly regarded for driving the trajectories and economic mobilities of our graduates. It's something we're so proud of. Given our ecosystem in San Antonio, we will be opening a new college of AI. It will have a better name than this. AI, computing, cybersecurity, and data. And this new college will be opening in January. It will be unique nationally and will be home to 6,000 students, staff, and faculty. Our annual appropriation request supporting this new college will be for data visualization, high-performance computing, and data storage capital and operational costs, as well as annual salaries supporting a CTO and technical staff operating a world-class visualization center and high-performance computing facility. Our focus on neuroscience, cancer, and regenerative medicine is an area of strategic focus for us, especially given our pending merger with UT Health San Antonio. And we would like to do this through a plus-up of our San Antonio Life Science Institute line item. The resources would be used for training programs, strategic hires, and facilities and instrumentation upgrades for genomics, metabolomics, cell and tissue culture, and tissue characterization laboratories. We also, very importantly, respectfully request a $20 million one-time funding for the support of our UT School of Public Health in San Antonio, originally a joint school between our two institutions and established by Dr. Henrich and myself 2 years ago after a lot of work and planning. The City of San Antonio and Bexar County have both made significant financial commitments to our new school. We've admitted our first cohort of Masters of Public Health students this past fall. Our founding dean, Dr. Vasan Ramachandran, is a world-renowned cardiologist and clinical epidemiologist. He is leading very important national longitudinal cohort studies fundamental to understanding the onset and progression of cardiovascular and other chronic diseases. We would like to use the one-time support for startup costs for strategic faculty hires and for really launching educational operational programs in the chronic disease space. We also want to say thank you to the Lieutenant Governor, to Senator Huffman, and all members involved in establishing and endowing DPRIT. It's an incredibly foresightful program to launch here in Texas and will elevate our communities and state with a focus on a very terrible and debilitating sets of diseases. DPRIT has the potential to beneficially impact lives affected by dementia. Our Brain Health Institute at UTSA would be happy to help you in any way as you conceptualize and bring forward this wonderful concept. Finally, I just have to say, and I echo the comments from my colleagues who've already commented on this, we really look forward to the merger of our two institutions this September as we build a world-class university for San Antonio, South Texas, Texas, the state of Texas, the nation, and the world. I just want to reiterate again how grateful we are for your continued investment in us and in our great state. I thank you for your time and effort, and I would be happy to answer any questions you have.
Senator Shorter.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just regarding your cybersecurity degree program there at UTSA.
Yes, sir.
How long has it been there, and is it bachelor's or is it I was looking at the rankings. It looks like it's fairly highly ranked versus other institutions. But how long has it been, and does it have master's and PhD level training, or just bachelor's?
Yeah, Senator, all good questions. We have been in the business. Let me actually step backwards a little bit. We sit in a very special ecosystem in San Antonio. It's home to NSA Texas, which is the largest national security agency operation outside of the Washington, D.C. area, and is very redundant with all the things that happen at Fort Meade. We also are home to the 16th Air Force. We have our federal presence is also involving the Secret Service Cyber Task Force, the FBI Cyber Squad. We have a bunch of Air Force activities related to cyber. All of the private sector contractors that support the federal enterprise in cybersecurity have been in San Antonio for a long time. So it's a very robust ecosystem. Some estimate that the annual value that the federal government spends in San Antonio supporting cybersecurity is on the order of $10 to $15 billion a year. So it's a very big ecosystem for us. And it's been around for quite a while, since the late 40s. And so it's been very logical that UTSA would have academic programs. And depending on how you count programs, we have a variety of them at the undergrad level, at the master's level, at the PhD level, and at the certificate level. And we're one of, I guess it would be fair to say that we're one of a very small handful of institutions nationally that have the NSA Cyber Defense Education and Cybersecurity Research designation and the Cyber Operations designation. So we have a very, very good academic program and a wonderful research and collaborative relationship with the ecosystem in San Antonio.
I appreciate your answers. Thank you.
Senator Campbell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Well, the UTSA is right in my backyard.
Yes,
so
ma'am.
I'm happy to represent them also. I appreciate your definition, talking a little bit about the growth and strength of the cyber program. I've watched that grow, and while I've been in the Senate, I've been able to see the strong work and growth that you've had with the dementia, the work on brain diseases of the brain, especially dementia. It's just real important. That's something that doesn't just affect individuals as patients, but their families also. So that's real important. And members, I'm happy that we are putting money behind the dementia programs. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Dr. Amy.
Thank you, Senator.
Thank you, Senator Campbell. Senator Severini.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. President Amy,
Yes, ma'am.
UTSA has been recognized as one of the fastest growing research institutions in the country. Now that you have merged with the Health Science Center, what impact will this have on the level of your research, your dollars, and your state funding?
Yeah, thank you for that. Good question. We are deeply in the planning process of preparing for merger and integration, and technically we will be a merged entity, a brand new university on September 1 of this year. But on that day, we will be approximately 40,000 student, 17,000 employee, $2.6 billion a year annual operation, conducting over $500 million a year of research expenditures.
How much?
Over $500 million of research expenditures. And as Chancellor Milliken noted, and for those of us who fuss about these things, we've carefully analyzed our comparison to AAU kinds of institutions, and on day one we would be really mid percentile. We would be the 50th percentile kind of institution amongst all AAU institutions, and in the top 40 or so public institutions in AAU. So clearly on day one we'll have had a lot of momentum about where we're going as a research university for the state of Texas.
Well, it seems to me that every time I mention research universities as defined by the coordinating board, somebody comes back with AAU or the Carnegie classifications. But
Yes,
let me
ma'am.
make some comparison. For Carnegie, the criterion is at least 20 PhDs awarded annually and at least $50 million in total research expenditures.
Yeah.
So that's 20 PhDs, $50 million in research. The coordinating board criteria are 200 or more research scholarship doctorate or degrees annually and generate at least 150 million annually in federal and private research expenditures. You're saying that with that merger, you will be at 500 million?
Yeah, and about 230 PhDs a year, something like that.
So you will actually move from the emerging research
Yes.
university category to the research category.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to be graduated quite yet from that, but
Well, apparently you're going to be.
but we're on a trajectory that's very important for us and where we want to go. I don't want to speak too boldly here, but we are really wanting to use this time as we prepare for merger and then integration afterwards to build the foundation of a world-class university for our community and for Texas and the nation and the world.
Well, you're on that track.
Yes,
What
ma'am.
is your catchment area?
Well, it depends on what you mean. We, from an undergraduate program, we have students coming from like 210 of the counties in Texas. Most of our medical school students who are enrolled at UT Health come from all around Texas. So if you're putting on a hat relative to the catchment area of patient services, it's those counties in South Texas they're equivalent to in geographic area to the size of Pennsylvania and the population of Minnesota. So it's a very large area. And I know that there's a lot of interest about healthcare along the border. And obviously we have very close relations with our colleagues in the Valley and over in El Paso. And so we believe that we're a very important component of the neighborhood of South Texas, and we're obviously interested in collaborating widely about the things we do in South Texas.
So your university and health science center serve not only the San Antonio area, but actually the
Oh, yeah.
entire South Texas area. Maybe not the entire border region, but the entire South Texas area.
Yeah, I don't have the exact all the county names, but it's a 38 county catchment area that's the size of Pennsylvania.
Thank you. You've heard my question about hours above a master's.
Oh, yes.
Doctoral, you have an answer?
I do 30.
What, 30?
Well, if you if you look at the credits that we typically require above the master's degree, it's about 30. That's what I understand.
That's the lowest I've ever heard.
Yeah,
far away
that's
from
why I wanted to share it
140.
with you.
Far away from 140.
Yeah. So I mean, beyond a bachelor's degree, the credits towards a master and then a PhD in total for programs at UTSA would be 70, 80 credits. So it would be 30 beyond the master's.
What role has philanthropy played in the jump start of UTSA and specifically the Health Science Center from its status a few years ago to its status today?
Yeah, I shared last session that UTSA is about to complete a $500 million capital campaign. It was supposed to take 10 years. It's going to be finished in 8 years. And over the course of that campaign, it's allowed us to receive significant funding from major donors. We've named 2 colleges in the process. We were one of the really, really special recipients of the Mackenzie Scott gifts that were given. So from a fundraising perspective, we've done really, really well. And our sister institution, UT Health San Antonio, completed a very significant capital campaign 7 or 8 years ago. And obviously, as we think about merger and the merged state, we'll want to think about a capital campaign coming forward sometime in the future.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Flores.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Dr. Emmy, good to see you.
Senator, good to see you.
Yes, it's great to have worked with you all these years. And,
Yes, sir.
I just want to say that you're a lot of these things wouldn't happen without your leadership and being a visionary, and when one just has to see why you do that by just how you talk to people and especially students. That's duly noted, and so they have confidence in you, and so far from my interactions with you, it's been the confidence just grows every day, and I look forward to what you're going to do with your new added responsibilities.
Thank you.
But you have a great staff too.
Oh, I do. Some are here, and they're the best in the world.
So that's
I'm a lucky guy.
Only as good as your people that work with you,
Yes, sir.
for you, and yet you do it that way, as far as I can tell. So the catchment area that Senator Zaffirini was talking about, that includes a lot of my district, and thousands of constituents of mine attend UTSA because it's a good place to go. And so you're hearing that from an Aggie that UTSA is a good place to go, but it is. So let's just briefly talk about the San Antonio Life Sciences Housing. I think we've helped in the past in that.
Yep.
And so what would be the consequence if we don't help you with your increased funding request? What would be the consequence, in terms of advancing, medicine in our area?
Yeah, SALSA has been a line item for quite a while, and what we've elected to do is, especially in light of merger, is to ask for a very generous plus up for it, because we are going to be using the funds associated with that plus up for really robust strategic hires that we want to make as a merged institution going forward. And it allows us to continue to attract the very best talent from around the country and from within Texas to join our R&D enterprise at the new university. And we're really asking you to make an investment in our merged state going forward by having us have the opportunity to go out and seek the talent that we need in these areas of common interest amongst our two institutions to go forward. So metabolomics, genomics, cancer, all of these things are very important to our collaborative research space. We want to, you heard Dr. Hartzell talk earlier today about where he wanted the research enterprise at UT Austin to go. We have plans to, hopefully with the situation in Washington resolving at some point, we would really love to double our research enterprise and get to $1 billion of research expenditures within 10 years. So that's one of our major bold goals for the institution. And it's all about people and bringing smart people together and putting them together in a transdisciplinary way. And this would be a marvelous investment in helping us realize that goal of doubling the research enterprise.
So thank you. I heard the words major and bold. To me, that's being proactive and getting your human capital infrastructure in place.
Thank you.
So that you can be bold and get ahead of things instead of reacting to things. Is that what I'm hearing?
You are.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. President.
Senator, thank you.
Senator Perry.
Hey, thank you, Mr. Chair. It's good to see you, Dr. Amy, a former Red Raider.
Yes, sir.
Previous years.
Senator, you noticed that I sat over here with the Red Raiders
You look
earlier
very
today.
familiar.
Yeah.
It was good. Now, I know there's an initiative underway for you guys to kind of adopt a statewide footprint in cyber and other things. So it's early, it's new, it's in the process of thinking through. We currently, there's always buzzwords every session. I'm always excited to find out what the new buzzwords are. For years, it's been mental health at some level, people attached to that. It's been kids in the past. Now it's AI and cyber, seem to be, and nuclear is beginning to make the top three of buzzwords, I guess. Give me what your vision is in this transfer from DIR's responsibilities, I guess, if I'm understanding that right, to y'all's facility, and what as members, because it's been, frankly, a lot of discussion as to it seems to work well at this level today, and what are we gaining and what is the risk of transfer. So just blatantly, we want to make sure that we don't take something that seems to be working, and we know this is one of those events that when they happen with ransomwares and things, you can shut down an organization.
Sure.
It's big, it's vulnerable, and it can happen from an email from some front desk in an agency level that's far, far away from Austin. So give us what component, and make sure I understand cybersecurity this much, that there's a cybersecurity in the software world, and there's a cybersecurity in the hardening of assets. And I know for a fact that the hardening of assets and things has been commandeered by a lot of different agencies and groups around the state. So what is y'all's role in that new role going forward?
Yeah, I'm going to answer this a couple of ways, Senator, and I appreciate the question and the interest. I want to frame it first by the fact that, from my perspective, this is a really innovative vision coming from Governor Abbott, and with a clear sense of need and opportunity and perhaps urgency. And that when called, we obviously are the first to jump up and say we are happy to serve in this capacity, and our role in this is to collaborate going forward. There's going to be opportunities, I think, to collaborate broadly across the state. And even today, discussions are still underway with the bill authors and with the governor's office and with DIR and with my team about still evaluating policy implications of the concept of creating a new cyber command for Texas. I think that the reason why the governor was compelled to think about San Antonio and UTSA is because of the ecosystem we reside in and the connectivity that we have in San Antonio, especially with our federal partners and with the private sector in support of that ecosystem. And so I don't want to get out of in front of the bill authors about this, but what I would offer to you and your colleagues is that we were called to serve, and we are delighted to serve and serve in the best capacity possible in providing this mission for the state that's dearly needed, and that we want to do so in a very collaborative way. And since the discussions began late last year, we've been working very closely with the governor's office and with DIR to navigate what this new idea needs to be. And it's still work in progress, but very close to the goal line in terms of being able to bring a bill forward to authorize. And obviously the financing for it is going to have to be figured out, and that's going to depend on these policy deliberations that are happening. But it's early, and it's going to need, obviously, your collective attention when it gets brought forward, and we're here to serve.
And I appreciate that, and I understand it's early in the process. I'll just have some observations. In a world of centralization, in a whole lot of different conversations, whether it be take out property taxes, all these different venues, the one thing in cybersecurity that's clear to me, you can have an oversight, and I envision kind of what that, you'll be kind of the air traffic controller. I'm not putting words, I don't know what the bill looks like and don't know. But decentralization is one of the best assets of defense for people that are trying to do problems, right? So as you look at this, keep in mind, I think we have a lot of good things working, and arguably I would love to have a go-to place to ask what's happening, and I think DR has done that well, but I get really nervous when we centralize our defenses to a point that it doesn't take but one hit to really compromise those. So, and I don't envision that's it, but just I think big picture. I was told that initially the conversation started over something that was relevant in my district, water systems being shut down. Now I've been told that then that's more software related. I've told that's not really the mission anymore per se. It may be something y'all have some jurisdictional input and places to go to with that. It's very specific on how to fix that. What your role looks like in that, I don't know, but I'm just saying we're watching, we're supportive, I think, of the concept of kind of a go-to. DIR has done a great job. I find it interesting the organizations that typically have problems chose not to sign up with DIR in the past, but the ones that have, they're done. But go back to Hager again, I'll say it 100 times, we're one email away from catastrophic failure. So as you go through this, I would caution and encourage, you're not a Lone Ranger. you're not out there on yourself, and there are experts around this world, this state, and I know you have resources I'm not aware of, and you're talking to those parties, but there's never going to be a surplus of good ideas on to make sure we don't screw this one up.
Yeah, and we're obviously very aware of the excellence at the RSOC at Angelo State. So,
And it's not just, I wouldn't care if that RSOC was in, I don't care, Fort Stockton. It's just that model seems to decentralize and provide some security.
Yeah.
That as we think about a consolidation, and we don't know what consolidation means today, I just caution, don't put yourself in jeopardy by consolidation and centralization.
thank you.
There are no more questions. Thank you, President Acme.
Mr. Chairman, I'm also here wearing the hat as the acting president of UT Health San Antonio.
Okay, make your presentation.
Thank you, sir. Hello again, and I'm still Taylor Amy, and I still am the luckiest guy in the world because I'm also the acting president at UT Health San Antonio. I really want to acknowledge and gratefully thank you for the $37 million of additional new funding as introduced in SB1, supporting our enrollment growth, research growth, infrastructure enhancement, and our dental programs. Did I get timed out? It's a hack. It's a cyber hack. I want to share with you the deck that was provided to you, and I also want to indicate to you that I have a number of colleagues here who are providing support to me in my new role. Dr. Sigurroa, who's going to be our Senior Executive Vice President for Health Affairs and Health System, could not be here today, but he sends his warm regards. I want to proudly share that we are the leading academic and bioscience research hub in South Texas, serving as this main catalyst for San Antonio's $44 billion healthcare and biosciences sector. As the only research-intensive health-related institution in our 38-county catchment area that we were discussing earlier, and as the only academic health center in the U.S. with 5 NIH-designated research centers, we proudly serve South Texas, especially around Alzheimer's and other neurodegenerative diseases, cancer research, aging research, metabolic diseases, PTSD research and treatment, and major clinical trials. By way of scale and impact, we are serving the population of 38 counties in South Texas. And as I said, that's a catchment area the size of Pennsylvania and the population equal to Minnesota. Our core missions are tied into the foundations of our educational, clinical, and research enterprises. For instance, our enrollment stands at 4,300 students. We saw 2.8 million patient visits last year, and our extramural funding at UT Health San Antonio has doubled in the last 7 years and will reach $400 million in annual expenditures in this fiscal year. While this generous support shown in SB1 is deeply appreciated, I want to share a few other things with you. We're a major economic driver for the biomedical industry. Our continued growth and role in the South Texas region is critical for advancing direct patient care and discovery, especially given how Texas is growing and the population of South Texas is especially growing. We fully support the coordinating board's recommendation to apply adjustments to all formula funding areas to reflect both growth and inflation. We have seen, you were asking a lot on the return on investment, Senator Zaffarini. We have seen a 44% annualized ROI on the state's mission-specific formula investment in us. This equates to a 1,200% ROI since inception 7 years ago. It was really translating $129 million of investment from you over these 7 years, producing almost $1.5 million additional research expenditures from other funding sources. So that was a powerful, powerful return on investment. If the legislature finds the opportunity for capital investments this session, we respectfully request $150 million to address really system building upgrades and safety and modernization needs. And we have a 1 million square foot space deficit presently, and we really need to bring some of our buildings up to snuff. Some of them are 60 years old and need the attention that we want them to have. As I shared in my prior presentation, we respectfully request this $20 million one-time source for our School of Public Health. It's a really important investment in that enterprise for us as we tackle chronic diseases. And I also want to say thank you for this dental clinical operations supplement, because that will greatly benefit clinical training for our students by providing state-of-the-art equipment in our very highly ranked dental school. I also want to return again to DPRIT. I want to say again thank you to Lieutenant Governor Patrick, Senator Huffman, and all the members involved in establishing and endowing DPRIT. Notably, I really want you to listen as I say this. I want to share that we do have, in concert with UTRGV, the only NIH Alzheimer's designated research center here in Texas. And we also have, and there are only 33 of those nationally, by the way, we also have a comprehensive care center for Parkinson's disease. Our world-class scientists and practitioners associated with Alzheimer's in the Biggs Institute stand ready to assist you and provide expert testimony as you seek counsel and create DPRIT and bring it forward. So we're here to help you. I also want to say that we are truly grateful for your continued investment in us and in South Texas. And on behalf of my new institution, who I am madly in love with, I say thank you, and I appreciate your time. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Senator Kokros.
Thank you. I know everybody's talking about DPRIT. I'm going to go back to CPRIT.
Yeah.
We're $6 billion in. Do y'all get any CPRIT grants?
Oh, yes. Both of my institutions do.
And then
It's actually been immensely impactful, and the fact I've read in some places that you're pondering establishing DPRIT in a model very similar to CPRIT. Those are wonderful things to ponder, and I can't say enough about CPRIT, how valuable it is.
do you you might have maybe not heard our discussion on CPRIT, and return on investment has been small.
I would be happy to provide you information about how our DPRIT funding at UT Health San Antonio and at UTSA is translated into other support related to cancer coming from NIH in particular. I'd be happy to provide that kind of information. I do know that we do a marvelous job at UT Health San Antonio around our NIH funding. We have one of the National Cancer Institute's designated cancer centers at UT Health San Antonio, and that's a very powerful and impactful discovery operation, and it's significant funding from NIH.
So you and I had a discussion when you came by, I think opening day.
Yeah.
We talked about maybe the change in healthcare focus.
Yeah.
To more chronic diseases, and to figure out why we have so many chronic diseases instead of just treating it on the back end.
Yeah, I would offer this as an observation. The School of Public Health that I've been discussing has a very, very important focus on these longitudinal studies that are designed to look at populations, including populations here in Texas, to monitor all sorts of health parameters over time related to chronic disease state. And the intent of these longitudinal studies is really to pick up early indicators of eventual chronic problems and to be able to intervene from a public health perspective way early upstream in the process before the chronic disease is manifested. And so I would say that this focus that we have going forward as a nation around chronic diseases aligns specifically with our intent and purpose about serving our population in South Texas, and it's manifested in a variety of ways. Our Cancer Institute does this, but our focus in public health and what we're doing in the new School of Public Health, and even in the Biggs Institute with Alzheimer's, we have a very, very focused effort with working with our populations around early intervention, early prevention, early understanding.
It's interesting to me. I stepped out for a while because I have several groups here from the district, and I was speaking, and one gentleman literally asked me the question when we were talking about health. I'll be filing Senate Bill 25, which is make Texas healthier or make Texas healthy again. And he asked me, he said, well, what are you doing about educating the public on seed oils, and what are you doing about educating the population on potential metals and vaccines and different things that are going on. And it's very interesting to me that people are nervous to have this conversation because we've had decades of doing this. Somehow we've ended up with it's either 1 in 34 or 1 in 39 births today are an autistic child. Well, that used to be 1 in 500,000, 1 in 300,000. And I know everybody out here is going to say, oh, we just identify better. Not the right answer. There's no way that we were missing that kind of population. So, I look forward to working with you and others. I think this is a new day in health, and the medical industrial complex is going to have to change because we spend more than any other nation, and our outcomes are terrible. They're literally terrible. Yeah. So you don't even have to comment. Look forward to working with you. I hope that
Absolutely.
This legislature aligns with more of that thoughts as we fund research and looking for answers, because it's really just about our constituents living a healthier and longer life.
Yep. Thank you, Senator.
Thank you for your testimony. No more questions?
Senator, thank you.
We still have a full page of universities and colleges and medical schools to testify. Next, we'll have the University of Texas at Tyler, the University of Texas Health Science Center, President Feely. And President Feely, I would ask you to make the presentation for both.